The most trending comic books in the comic book marketplace. We have ranked them, we have priced them, we have analysis, and we're going to tell you what we think about it.
I want to know what Butch thinks. He's the best. A lot of these books are spiking for various reasons, most of them because of movie or TV news, but some of these books are on here just because comics are fun and people like comic books.
We have been making this video every single week for over 6 years straight without skipping a beat. Hit that like button. We need your support. Slap the subscribe. You know we're going to be here next week and every week until the end of time. And number 10 on the list is Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime. Number 1, the 1 in 50 J. Scott Campbell variant. This book just came out.
It just came out a couple days ago, and like we always say, ratio variants, usually the rule of thumb is they go for about what the ratio number is. In this case, it's a 1 in 50 variant, so you can expect to pay about $50. We're seeing $60 average sales for this book, so it's going a little hotter than you'd expect.
The market we're in right now, we're even seeing ratios underperform. So seeing a book go for more money tells me that 1, it's a J. Scott Campbell effect. It's real. People love this artist. But also, how many LCSs are ordering 50 copies of Scrooge McDuck? Not many. And that's how many you have to order to get 1 copy of this variant. However, it's a monumental moment. This is the very first Marvel-Disney team-up on a book. It's the book of the century.
That was even in the official solicitation, too. The century with a cent symbol on the C there. It's a nice wink and a nod to the fact that Scrooge McDuck loves money. And when you think about the fact that Marvel and Disney have been in the same boat together for, I think, about a decade now, and this is the first time they've made like a joint comic together, right? Like Marvel's been publishing Star Wars for pretty much that entire time, and a bunch of other Disney properties that they own. But this is an exciting harbinger of things to come. If they're putting like Jason Aaron is writing this book too. If they're putting talent like that on books that I think a lot of people might consider, forgettable or not worth picking up. I honestly did not grab this book this week, and I'm kicking myself for it.
There are so many dope covers for this run. They really went all out. Take a look at this Alex Ross cover. Open Order, Scotty Young, Peach Momoko. They also made that one a 1 in 25.
What do you think about that Frank Miller cover, though?
That's rough, dude.
I like that one. I kind of want to go order that book like right now, just based on the quality of the artwork there.
Let us know what you think about the Frank Miller cover. And also, if you haven't done it already, you're behind. Download Key Collector Comics. It's the best comic app in existence. I use this more than Overstreet, than I use eBay, than I use any other app on my phone. I'm on Key Collector Comics every single day, learning about funny books, keeping up on the news that's breaking, and I keep track of my collection on there.
He's on there more than he's on Feet Finder.
Very true. And you can support the show by using code Tom101 and unlocking yourself a free 2-week subscription. Take a look at the Trending 20. It's the larger list we source these 10 comics from every single week. Number 9 on the list is James Tynion IV. Goodness, Department of Truth #1. It's back. It's selling for too cheap, and it's one of the most important comic books of our generation.
We are seeing $15 average sales for this book this week, and a 9.8 hit $75 earlier in this month. I'm excited. This has been my favorite comic book, and it's been on hiatus for over a year and a half. It's been a year and a half. November 2022 was the last issue 22, and now number 23 comes out this coming New Comic Book Day, and they're going to be dealing with the JFK assassination amongst all the other conspiracies that this book delves into. It's great. You really got to pick it up if you haven't already.
Martin Simmons' cover looks excellent as always, but we also have a Alex Ekman lawn cover that I'm going to be picking up. There's an increase of copies sold of 167% because people are excited about this book finally coming back. I love the comic book. Everyone needs to read the comic. There's going to be a ton of retailer variants. There's going to be a lot of buzz at conventions. However, I also want to throw out there that we're still waiting on any news about the TV show that is still got to happen. Although it's kind of in this limbo, no news, no updates since we heard, back in 2021 that this was happening. It's going to happen one day. It has to happen. And people who are picking this book out for under $100 are going to be happy they did.
Yeah, it's too relevant. The TV show is still being worked on. I'm praying for an update on that one. We haven't seen this book hit the list since January of earlier this year, so I think it's flying under the radar right now. And yeah, it's a cool read. It's finally coming back, but on a long-term sense, it does make some sort of spec when you get to the TV show version of this story.
Which brings us to number 8 with Booster Gold #1 coming out in 1986, seeing $90 average sales, $253 for a CGC 9.8. When the original James Gunn slate was revealed, we found out we're going to get Swamp Thing, Supergirl, Superman, Brave and the Bold. It's taking a long time. More Peacemaker? Yes. Amanda Waller? Indeed. Well, Booster Gold was on that list, and there were rumors that they had already cast this role, and James Gunn shot it down, making this book pretty volatile. And now it's affordable, and we're hearing more rumors, and I like what we're hearing.
Yeah, that rumor from last month said that they had secretly cast the role of Booster Gold without telling us, and that they were about to start filming it like in a couple weeks. So James Gunn thankfully came out and just squashed that whole thing altogether. But we are hearing rumors this week that Danny McBride and the overall writing team on the show Righteous Gemstones on HBO, which I love, the rumors that they are attached to write the Booster Gold series, which would be a great move. They're very funny. Righteous Gemstones is a really cool show, and I think that would bring the exact sense of humor that a project like this definitely needs. Booster Gold needs to be funny.
An increase of copies sold of 200% because of the news you just stated, but also the rumors about who's going to portray Booster Gold. Chris Pratt, pretty much probably the main pick that everyone expects because he's from Marvel and he's worked with James Gunn, and James Gunn likes to rehire the people he's worked with well in the past. He's also been seen on the Superman Legacy set, but it seemed like he was more of an onlooker, just like enjoying his time on set, not actually portraying a role, but that's yet to be seen. The other person just followed James Gunn for the first time this past week, and apparently they play golf together, and that's Anthony Starr, who portrays Homelander on The Boys, and that would be an excellent pick.
Yeah, they both followed each other on Instagram, too, which some people are taking to mean that they have signed some sort of deal, and maybe Anthony Starr is going to be in the DC universe in some capacity. The other spec option is Glenn Powell, who's kind of having a big moment in Hollywood right now. He was all over Top Gun Maverick last year, and he played opposite Sydney Sweeney in that rom-com Anyone But You, so I think he could work, too. He definitely has the look for Booster Gold.
Number 7 on the list is Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, issue number 1, and this book has taken a beating. It is being sold aggressively. It's on our list because it's selling a lot, but I don't think it's because spec is high. I think people who bought it are trying to get out of it because this book may be similar loosely to the narrative we're going to get in Deadpool Wolverine, but it's not exact. It's probably a little bit paying a tribute at best, and people are now selling it actively.
We are seeing a 233% increase in copies sold. And yeah, like Tom said, people might just be trying to get out of it versus trying to buy up a whole bunch of copies. They're selling for about $20 on average, with a 9.8 hitting 168 last month back in May, which is really bad when you consider that all year it's been selling for $310 on average for the last 12 months. That's pretty bad. That's like about half of what it's been going for on average. And across all grades, it's selling below like its year-long average. So something's happening here.
Yeah, a lot of people are starting to list them because they realize that this is definitely not the main pick. And there's so many bigger keys to go after. And that's why you got to remind yourself as it pertains to minor keys that are spiking because of movies. Narratives in title alone sometimes spike. Moments in the movies that may remind someone of a minor key moment in a comic may temporarily spike the book. But when you got Dazzler spec, Lady Deadpool spec, Headpool spec, Kidpool spec, Wolverine spec, Deadpool spec, the list goes on and on. All of those books seem way cooler to own if you're hyped for a movie.
Yeah, we talked about this book 4 months ago, back in February, and since then, there's only been 10 new slabs added to the census across all grades. So there doesn't seem to be any action on this book at all.
That tells us a lot. I mean, if you are investing in this book, you would see way more books flooding that census count. We've seen them on all the other books that I just described the character's first appearance of.
It's not a bad read, though. It's a 4-issue out-of-continuity miniseries, and it does feel, I imagine it will feel a lot like Deadpool Wolverine, too. So if you just want to read something that feels like the movie, you could do worse.
And number 6 on the list, what the hell is this doing here? Before we get to it, though, if you want to support the show directly, we'll send you comics every single month, and we're celebrating July right with a Homelander Virgin Boy's first appearance in issue number 1 by Johnny Desjardins, going out 1 per box. Go to ComicTom101.com. That's not the only book I'm putting in the box, and I will not announce the second one until next week, but I'll give you a hint. It's a Peach Momoko cover.
That would be funny if we only sent out one book in a mystery box and we told you what the book was. That's weird.
Send 4 to 5.
4 to 5, correct. We throw a whole bunch of stuff in there, and it happens every month. Every single month we do this, and it helps support what we do here, so we would appreciate that, but we need to move on. We need to get back to the list. We've got like more than half of the books still to get to, so let's do number 6 right now.
Infinite Crisis number 5 is at number 6, first appearance of the Blue Beetle. You remember that movie that came out that no one watched? That no one really liked? It got pretty good ratings. I enjoyed it. Had OMAC in it, but I digress. $50 average sales, $110 for a CGC 9.8. Dude, this book hit $600 heights back in April 2023, and last sale was $110. Damn, that is a drop. Why the 467% increase in copies sold?
It just got confirmed for an animated series.
That could be good.
Kind of out of nowhere. It was actually the lowest performing DC EU movie before the James Gunn universe started to pick up steam, so I'm a little surprised that they're continuing with this character, but James Gunn did actually confirm to us back when he took over that there were going to be 3 characters whose actors would make the transition from the previous DC universe to the new one. He said Amanda Waller, Peacemaker, and Blue Beetle would all crossover, so I guess it does make sense that we see something pan out here.
This is probably what they were talking about. It takes a long time to get an animation geared up. So he probably knew and received this as part of the slate that he was going to acquire and said, all right, yeah, now I got to push the movie and we got to make this animation happen.
That's an easy one. That's a no-brainer. It's animation's coming. We don't know anything else really yet, so it's probably a long way off. But number 5 on the list, this one is also kind of a no-brainer. You get one offhand comment from Sean Levy, and suddenly this book hits the list. Number 5, Spider-Man Deadpool, number 1 from 2016, $15 average sales, and $160 for a 9.8 earlier this month, which is quite a bit over the average of $102.
This right here is the premiere issue teaming up Spider-Man and Deadpool, and this is what Sean Levy had to say.
The thing about Deadpool is I think he makes everything more interesting because of his audacity. But boy, I'd sure love to see Deadpool and Spidey. That's a movie I'd love to make. I feel like Tom Holland would run circles around everyone else.
And Tom Holland has already talked about this when having been asked about considering Spider-Man joining the Deadpool Wolverine mythos. This is what he had to say. Yeah, of course I have. I'm a big fan of both of those guys, meaning Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. I'm sure the film is going to be fantastic. I'm very excited for the film. I wish them all the best, and I can't wait to see those two go at it.
Yeah, he said that last year, too. So he's kind of had his eye on this movie for a while, and I think just in general, it got my mind thinking about what they could do with Deadpool beyond Deadpool and Wolverine, assuming we'll finally get the end of Hugh Jackman Wolverine. What's Deadpool going to do? Are we going to get like a Deadpool 4? Or maybe they could just do Deadpool and blank Marvel characters, ad infinitum, however long they want to make Deadpool movies for.
There is no superhero you can put in that blank that would be more exciting than Spider-Man. Deadpool and Captain America. Deadpool and Thor. Deadpool and Spider-Man breaks more records than Deadpool Wolverine.
Yeah, especially if he's killing all the Sony characters the same way he seems to be killing off all the Fox characters in Deadpool Wolverine.
Which brings us to number 4 on the list with Marvel Spotlight number 5 from 1972. Seeing $2,000 average sales, $5,300 for a CGC 9.8 back in May of this year. And this book could have been swapped out for multiple other supernatural key books. And it's all because of rumors of who is going to portray the Ghost Rider in the MCU and what other characters that may be affiliated with him. And we're talking Midnight Suns.
Correct, yeah. Over on the Trending 20, which again, you should check out Key Collector because there's twice as many books that we talk about on that list versus this video. But over on that list, you've also got Ghost Rider 28, which is the first appearance of Lilith. We've had some Blade news in the past week, so we just left that one off this list, as well as Ghost Rider 31, the first full appearance of the Midnight Suns.
Don't forget, Blade may still be happening even if it's in development hell. I mean, we had Mia Goth rumored to be cast as Lilith. She's going to be in the movie. It's hanging on for their dear life. But Tomb 10, first appearance of Blade, has been taking a beating. It was on the hot 10 because so many people are getting out of the spec, taking a loss before they take even more of a loss than they've already taken. Well, this book is being rumored to be tied to a A-list actor to portray Ghost Rider. And I like what I'm hearing.
Yeah, if you consider the long haul, I guess the MCU and Kevin Feige do seem to be building up to some sort of Midnight Suns supernatural stuff when you consider that they did the whole Werewolf by Night thing a couple years ago.
Moon Knight.
And Moon Knight and Man thing and all this. Ghost Rider feels like a character that just needs to be in the MCU, and the rumors we're seeing this week especially are that we're going to be getting an A-list actor playing this role. There's even rumors claiming the movie will be called Ghost Rider and the Midnight Suns, and alongside that, we saw a completely separate leaker claim that Ryan Gosling is attached or will be attached to play this character.
If Ryan Gosling portrays Johnny Blaze, this book goes nuts. What do you think?
Yes, that would be like if I could wave a wand and choose any actor to play Johnny Blaze, it would be Ryan Gosling. I love Place Beyond the Pines. He rode a motorcycle all over that movie, and I think it just works.
The next book on the list, I don't think you should spec on. I think you should read. You're not going to make a bunch of money, but it's at number 3 because it's selling aggressively, and a comic edition was never created.
Number 3 is Get Jiro from 2012. This was Anthony Bourdain's comic book. It's a food comic book. And yeah, like Tom said, there was no issue 1, issue 2 of this. This just came out as a graphic novel. So there's no slabs to speak of. It's a hardcover. There's no online sales on GPA because there are no slabs to sell online on GPA. So the numbers on this are a little hard to report on other than the 967% increase in copies sold. That's a lot. That's a lot of books. Why is that suddenly selling so many copies after 12 years?
$15 average sales on the hardcover edition. There's also a soft cover edition, and this is being brought to Adult Swim as an animation.
Correct, and this is not the only animated thing on this list. We've actually talked about the Blue Beetle animated series. We've got this book, Get Jiro, here, and there's another animated series, or animated movie on deck, I should say. So there's a lot of cool things happening in the world of animation. But yeah, this is going to be coming to Adult Swim. I still need to read this, honestly. It's about like a world where like food rules everything, and kind of like restaurants are almost treated like gangsters. There's a whole bunch of like, I don't know, it sounds cool. There's like some Yakuza vibes in here, and you know me, I'm all about the mafia and Sopranos and all that, so getting a taste of this book, pun not intended, unfortunately, I need to read this. I need to get on it.
One of the ongoing jokes when running Crashdown with this guy was, how do we get mobsters to the planet Empyrean and just start creating a mafia story?
Mobsters in space, man. It's wide open. We still got to do it.
Hey, in Sopranos, they did, Godfather mixed with Saw.
Michael Myers is an escaped mental patient. Jason and Freddy, different kind of movie.
Well, that's the kind we're doing here. Saw, The Ring, they made millions, and that's not even including the Godfather angle, which we got here.
We can do like Pandora mixed with Scarface.
Yeah, let's get on that and somehow make it about sushi like at Jiro. I'm going to bring this back to the list because that's what we're here for. We're
Hit
not
the
here
subscribe
to talk about...
button. Subscribe to the channel.
Or don't. You can unsubscribe. I won't blame you.
Damn it, Ryan.
Get out of here.
Hit the like button. And now we're at number 2 with The Boys #1. I watched the first 3 episodes on drop weekend, and they were superb. This book is undervalued. This book is underrated. This show is amazing. And episode 4 came out this week, and I will watch it this weekend. Well, I prefer episodes coming out weekly, getting as far away from the Netflix drop that they do, where just the entire season dump happens. But they gave us 3 episodes immediately. Episode 4 marks the midway point of season 4, which is kind of a drag.
You drop all 3 on the first day, and there's only 5 more to go. So the entire season of The Boys is going to take like a month to get through, which is sort of like splitting the difference between the Netflix model and the weekly release model. But yeah, I'm there with you all the way. I think weekly is the way to go, like House of the Dragon. We're seeing $100 average sales on this book and a 9.8 hit, $321, which is not that far away from where it's been selling all year.
The highest this book hit was $700. There is going to be a season 5. There's already a spin-off series with Gen V. There's an animation that has already been created. They're talking about expanding this world beyond what we're getting with Huey and Butcher and Homelander. I'm loving what I'm seeing, and I think this book has a lot of room to grow.
Sure. I'm not as big of a fan of this show as you are. I think it's fine. I like it. I like it well enough. I've been obsessed more recently with other things that Garth Ennis has done, actually. I want to shout out some kind of comics that he's written within the last year that are sort of maybe flying under the radar. Particularly the Ribbon Queen from AWA. It's a really creepy body horror comic, which I actually really do need to make you read. Garth Ennis and Jason Burrows. And they're actually both the same creative team working on a book for Marvel right now called Get Fury, where Nick Fury gets captured by like the Viet Cong in the Vietnam War, and the Punisher has to go like track him down and shoot him before he can like spill all their secrets. It's a cool book. It's only got like 2 issues out now, but go check that out.
Hit the like, slap the subscribe button. The #1 most trending, hottest book in the world is G.I. Joe Transformers issue #1.
2 weeks in a row.
Hell yeah, dude. And yeah, we got G.I. Joe and live action Transformers happening, and there's gonna be a crossover, and then you got the Energon universe, and then you got
Robert
Robert
There was a writer
Kirkman.
attached. That was a big deal. Like Derek Connolly, the writer of Jurassic World and a whole bunch of other cool movies, he did get attached to the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover movie, and that's what we talked about last week when this book hit, I think, #2 on the list or something pretty high.
I don't care anymore. This animation trailer for the new movie, the first animation since the 80s Transformers movie that came out, looks like the best Transformers movie that's ever going to have been made.
Yeah, Transformers 1 is coming out in just a couple months, and I kind of forgot it was happening, but it's like a prequel. Supposedly it's going to be a trilogy, prequel movies, 3 movies, telling the origin story of Optimus and Megatron and a bunch of other Transformers on Cybertron back in the day.
I never thought about this. Like, imagine when they first learned that they can transform.
And how terribly clunky it would be and kind of comedic. This movie does look pretty funny, and I'm excited for it. I think it's a breath of fresh air, especially compared to like the 7 or so different Michael Bay live-action Transformers movies.
I've always thought that those movies were fun, but they're kind of hard to watch. Like, it's difficult to even know what's happening.
They're like literally hard to see what you're watching.
It's like, yeah, like color vomit and mechanics moving so quick that you can't really enjoy it to its fullest. Am I the only one? It's what makes me not that excited for live action Transformers. Maybe just yet. Maybe it's because it's Michael Bay. I don't know. But the animation looks clean. It does look funny. I actually laughed at jokes that I know kids are going to be like busting a gut over.
And that's the important part, too. You got to make them, for this franchise to continue indefinitely, which is what I assume fans of Transformers want, you got to make stuff that can appeal to younger generations and keep the spark alive, if you will. I'm making so many good puns today without even thinking about it.
A 560% increase in copies sold. We got Scarlett Johansson, Chris Hemsworth doing an American accent, Steve Buscemi. This is like a star-studded cast on a movie that's going to be excellent.
Yeah, Brian Tyree Henry is going to be playing Megatron. He's all over the place. You got Keegan-Michael Key as Bumblebee. You got Lawrence Fishburne in this movie, too. It's very star-studded. And yeah, the animation looks really cool. I laughed quite a bit in the trailer as well. I'm sure we're showing that on screen at some point during this number. And it's coming out in just a couple months.
And peeps who grew up on Transformers from the 80s are kind of like split here. There's a lot of people who are kind of taking a big dump on this trailer. They're not excited to see this.
I'm not one of them. I didn't grow up in the 80s. I was born in the 80s, so I guess that technically counts. I got like 10 months of the 80s under my belt, but I'm not an 80s kid, so I have no real association or attachment to the Transformers franchise beyond the awesome Energon book that's happening right now and some of the Michael Bay movies, but I dropped off those real quick. This movie looks fun. It reminded me a lot of the Mutant Mayhem Ninja Turtles movie that came out last year that was also animated and also really funny and also targeted mostly at the younger generation, which, again, is important to keep the thing alive.
What do you think about the Transformers animation trailer? I almost said Animorphs there.
I'm into that. Let's do that too.
Tobias! All right, let us know what you think in the comment section below. And as always,
Geek responsibly.
enough said.